Oh, all right, welcome back. It's been a while since we posted any videos. Been kind of busy doing who knows what. But today I'm gonna be working on my E350 that I bought a couple months ago. I want to do a rear bumper for it. I pulled this thing out of a storage unit where it had been sitting for like 15 years, and when was it? That was January. And since then, I put new wheels, tires on it. I lifted the front up a little bit, and then I built a front bumper that I'll show you here in a minute. But for the rear, I want to build something that kind of matches it. So let me get this thing backed up and pull that rear bumper off first. So here's the front bumper I built. It's just kind of like a little hybrid plate bumper with some tubing added to it. I just wanted something low profile and sleek. I didn't really want it in your face. So that's kind of the, frick, I can't talk today. That's the look I'm going for the rear. I think I'll keep it, slim, maybe add a little trailer hitch or a receiver hitch just for accessory mounts and whatnot. And maybe some backup lights or some sort of other lights. To be honest, I don't really have a plan. Just kind of winging it and seeing what I can come up with today. Alrighty, so here is the stock bumper that's on it. It's all banged up and ugly and gross. So I'm kind of thinking is pull that off, and then I will do the mounts on each side. And I think for the top, I'll just do like a single bar across, and then something that kind of comes down and then up. Keep it close to the body as possible. I'm not doing any tire swing outs or any of that stuff. So yeah, like I said before, figure it out. All right, there's those off. So now it's got a saggy butt. First thing we'll have to do is measure this up at all the holes and make plates, and that's what everything's gonna mount to. So let me figure that out. I got the plasma table set up, and my part for the frame rail, frame horns made up. Here it is right off the water table. It's not too bad. A little bit of slag that'll knock off, so we'll see how it fits against the frame rail here. I messed up the first one. This hole is the entire length of that slot up too high, so I just went upstairs to my computer and I moved it down. This plate still would work. You just wouldn't have the full slot. So anyways, I moved it and I'll cut out another plate. Pro tip though is just measure right the first time and you'll get the correct part. Alrighty, much better. See, that all lines up with all the holes. We could hold it right, pretty much perfect. So now I just gotta cut out the other side and then get some bolts and then figure out what I'm gonna do for the rest of it. All right, so it's kind of what I'm thinking. Tube across, and then on the ends I'll bend it to kind of match this radius here, terminate over there. This piece of tube looks like it might be the perfect length. Next, what I have to do is make want to make some plates that kind of come off here that have like a notch in it that'll accept this tubing. And then I need to kind of figure out what I want to do for the bottom portion. Like I said, I'm winging it, so I'm kind of just making up the design as I go. Alrighty, it's the next day. I had to take the night to kind of think of what I was going to do for this bumper, and I'm kind of on track here. So what I did is made some 2x3 box tube, 45, notched it, and I kind of got it at the level I wanted. So I got that on both sides, and now what I want to do is get a new piece of tubing in and make some guide bends, so I can have this part come and then bend in probably 15 degrees, and then I'll have another bend around here. But that's the distance right there on the bumper. I do have my tubing bender set up here. It's a JD Square, and I have a couple different dies, so I'll just get this kind of cleaned up, and then I'm gonna make a few of, there's dies like this. So this is a 45, and this is like 22 degrees. I guess those are called cheater bars. So that way every time you make your marks on your bender, and you can set it up and transfer it to that. I don't know, I'll show you here in a minute. So this one I'm gonna bend to 22 degrees. So I always make my mark here, so that way I can transfer this mark onto this tubing over here. I'll show you here in a minute. So I bent this to 22 degrees. Let me get it pulled out. So to get my line transferred all the way around the tube, I put a zip tie on it, try to even it out so it's straight, and then trace the line, and then you can just pull it out, sorta. There we go. But anyways, I do this. Now there's my line. I can transfer it to the other tube, and that's about the angle I'm going for. And then I'll put a bend right there too, going around the corner. So let me get some things figured out, and I'll get back to you. Alright, now I'm going to take my cheater piece here, and I already found out that I want to put this line right in line with this riser here. So you just set it on like so. And then transfer your mark over, and then your arrows, just so you know which way to point the tube in the bender. It's going to be 22 degrees. So I guess I'll do it on both sides here. Alright, so you can see the way I have it now, my arrow is pointing in, so I want, when I make my bend, I want on this line matched up with this here, I want the arrow pointing out, so I can come to this side. This one is pointing that way, so I'm going to push the whole tubing through and make a bend with it long. So let's go ahead and get that set up. Okay, so again, got my line marked, lined up with this, because that can be repeated every single time. And well, you can't see it, but the arrow is pointing out. So now what I'm going to do is put a little tension on this, get it all zeroed out, take this end off the jack stand. It'll tilt down a little bit, but it'll all be relevant to this die still. For that, I get it zeroed. This is tight. I start making some bends. 22. One more. Jeez. Switch around. So now I have this whole piece level. It's lined up on my mark here with the arrow pointing that way. So now when you lock this down, you just need to be careful that nothing, sometimes they'll kind of rotate the tubing. So just be careful of that. And sometimes it'll kind of pull the whole tube out as well. Let's get nice and tight. And then, I don't know if you can see, there's too much crap in the background. So here is that whole thing. And then now I will make this bend. So this same one, it's going to 22 degrees. And just like that, I gave it a little extra room, maybe an 1/8 inch further out on each side. That comes in, swoops, gets nice and close to the body here, and then I'll do another bend there. And then same with the side here. I think that's going to turn out pretty good. Alrighty, now what I have to do is one more bend to round this off that way. So what I have here is my 45-degree cheater. Everything's all marked up. And what I did, set it up until, I can't really do it with one hand, until I like where it's gonna be. And then I do my mark, draw my arrows. I always write my degree on there just so it's fresh in my head when I put it in the bender. And then same thing with this side. And I did a little measuring from this line to that line and whatnot. I'll have a little bit of side to side just to kind of get everything perfect. So now I need to get this piece back into the bender and bend those ends. Got that second bend going, tacked it across, and I got the spacing best I could, and this lined up here. Then that, my driveway kind of goes downhill, so the van's pointed down, so I just lined this up with kind of that top bar there, or top line. Might have to go up a little bit. All right, it's the next day. Yesterday, I added in this crossbar here to the rear, and then I spent a few hours last night designing this back plate here, so it uses the bolts to line up. That's all going to be weld on, and this will be for the backup lights. This is just some general, I don't know, some design to kind of fill that space. And then the cool part is I made these little, let's see if you can see here, slots, but each one of these parts up here mates right to the tube. So on the back side I can weld it out. And then I also have the hole for the receiver here. So I need to cut this a little shorter, and then I'm going to make some sort of piece that comes down to capture that. And then I'll have to kind of beef it up a little bit. But yeah, that took forever. So I figured nobody wanted to watch me sit around for 5 hours not getting any work done. All right, it's a couple days later. I haven't had too much time to work on the bumper. I'm spending a couple hours every day, and some of these parts have taken me a couple hours just to kind of figure out. So I came up with this plate corner design here. I couldn't fit a piece of tube from there up to here. It was too big or too tight, and then it would have been a huge notch over here. And it just didn't look quite right. So I think I think that'll look good is what I'm trying to say. And that's what I'm sticking with. So now I have to come up with something for the top filler plate here. And I have, here it is. Find anything in this mess. So I have this random piece I'd cut out a while ago, and it just happens to fit in here. So I'm not going to stick with the slot design. I was thinking of doing some other design into it. So instead of doing a full filler plate, I was going to cut out a couple plates about this size and then stick them throughout. Maybe I'd do like 2 or 3. So that's another thing we'll have to figure out. And then down here I added this part in to support the receiver. There's never going to be any weight on this. I'm not going to pull from it. I'm not towing. If anything, it's just going to be some sort of an accessory mount. And let's be honest, it's just for looks for now. So I have this other plate I had cut out, and I was thinking of just kind of adding that in down there. I think that'll look decent, just to give it a little side to side and maybe up and down. And I'm not sure if I want to do let's see if we can see something that attaches here up to the 2 tubes and then connects back here. So that's another thing. I really wanted this to be kind of a show you guys like every step of the way, but it's just too hard, so you're gonna get what you get. I pulled the bumper off because I'm gonna start welding everything out. I wanted to show a closer look at these bumper corners. So I cut them out, and then I set it up against, and as I went I had to add some curves to it just so it could see if I can show it a little better. Setting up so it curves there, and then anyways, I'm gonna weld it out. Probably don't need to show you that whole thing. It's gonna take probably a little over an hour, but and I'm going to right on this line here, I'm going to cut that straight down and cap those so it doesn't stick out past the body. All right, so the E350 bumper I finished up a few days ago. Before I installed it, I painted behind here, and then also these tab supports that hang down to hide those, and then the pinch weld here. I kind of wanted to paint up through here and then down, but I'm not sure yet just because it looks kind of goofy. But the bumper is all painted and primered. And then I got the reverse lights installed behind the bumper here. Off camera, I made these little weld on zip tie tabs so I could run all my wires along there. So I got it neatly tucked in. My lights also, I pinned them with these little weatherproof connectors, and then just ran it up to the reverse lights. Again, that bumper is never going to be used for towing or pulling on, so I wasn't too worried about behind support. But yeah, so it's all done and looking good. But anyways, that's going to do it for this video. I have been collecting parts for the F100 and kind of working on it, doing a lot of the boring stuff. So you can see it's just fully buried in here now. Anyways, thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next video.